In this video, I'm going to tell about a new game by GMT based on the same mechanics that many wargamers are familiar with from the coin system, Counterinsurgency. Here we have a game, the title, I'm not sure it's pronounced, I'm just gonna read every letter, Vijayanagara, the Deccan Empire, so medieval India, 1290 to 1398. So this is a game that features three factions. We have the Delhi Sultanate up there on the board, and that will be dealing with invasions coming from a non-playing party, the Mughal Empire. At the same time, they're also trying to keep their holds on the general region of India, because these are the two factions, the Vijayanagara Empire and the Bahmani Kingdom, yellow and the light blue, that are, well, trying to get out of paying tribute to Delhi and trying to create independence. So three parties, they will always be in the game. So ideally you have three players, one controlling each party, but you also have fully automated bots that you can use to handle any and all of the factions. So in case you're two players, one is automated. In case you want to play solo, then two are automated. Or you can play like me. I played it solo three-handed because I have enough experience playing two-handed that I can add a hand. So here is the board, and it is divided into regions, and each region has a number, which is a 1 or a 2, and it is the prosperity value. At the end of the game, a lot of points will come from the prosperity value of the regions that the various parties control, plus other things. For example, the Bahmani also score points for building forts, and the Vijayanagara also for building temples. Now, each region starts being a tributary of the Sultanate of Delhi. Then there will be actions that may remove that token. In particular, there is the rebel action that allows one of these other two minor parties to remove that if they have the majority of pieces in the region. But not at the beginning of the game. There is an event card that triggers when the rebel action becomes available. But suppose that it becomes, then you remove that one. All of these that represent governors for these factions are double-sided, and so when the symbol is showing, they are in rebellion. They're rebelling against Delhi. So if that is removed, now you show that they are rebels, and also you place a marker to indicate that they have control. If these other people were rebelling against Delhi, then you would remove the tribute token and replace it with their control that indicates them. Suppose that later, oh no, they lose control of that. Now we flip it to that side. It's also possible that then Delhi takes control again. Delhi has both governors, the same kind of hexagonal-based pieces that the other two people have, plus they have these cubes representing troops. They have quite a bit of manpower. In this case, then they place their control, and it is an extra action. It is an extra action then for them, once they reestablish control again, to turn it into a tributary again, which again is more stable. It takes extra work to turn a place controlled by Delhi into a tributary to Delhi, but then it also takes more work for the other people to take it back. These are some of the general concepts. Here we have two different tracks representing the influence of the Vijayanagara and the Bahmani, and the different actions will give them, let them to advance, and they gain different kind of upgrades on their powers. Also, they get to collect extra forces that become available to them. As you can see, the Vijayanagara have more people that can join them as the game progresses, but the Bahmani have different kinds of advantages. For example, having forts is pretty good when it comes to war. Also, they have a trade action that allows them to collect cavalry charge tokens more efficiently than say, the other southern faction, and these will be useful in combat. As I mentioned, this is based on the mechanics of coin games. That means that the flow of the game is regulated by a deck of event cards. You shuffle, 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 and you will only use a number of these, so you will not see every card every game. So there will be variety, unpredictability, you can't count cards. Also, this deck of event cards will be seeded with different cards placed at specific points, creating the timing of the game. For example, you have several specific events that, for example, they make the rebel action available to the Bamani and the Vijayanagara. That action, as I say, is not available at the beginning of the game, and then you have, again, other things that will happen when these are encountered. Mongol invasions. That, remember, is a non-playing party, but when a card like this is drawn, then actually the Vijayanagara or the Bamani will get to take actions for the Mongols. They'll try to use them against Delhi, and they will want to do so because the pressure from the Mongol will keep them too busy to keep a close eye on the expansion of the southern factions. You can also receive compromising gifts from the Mongols. So if your influence is 1 or more, you can spend the influence to gain resources and cavalry charges. We also have the Timur Empire cards. They're shuffled toward the bottom of the deck, and they also regulate the end of the game. When the first one of these two is revealed, then the Mongols are building up a big army on the north side of the map, and when the second, which is identical, is drawn, then the Mongols just drive through the Punjab, the mountain passes and the Punjab, and try to attack Delhi. And it's bad for the Delhi Sultanate if they get there. Also, when this kind of like mini game of the final major invasion is performed, that triggers the end of the game, and you count victory points, again based mainly on the value of the regions you control plus other factors that are unique for each faction. But again, they will attack during the game, plus again the major invasion at the end of the game. So if you're familiar with coin mechanics, you know how this works. At the beginning of return, a card is drawn. If it's one of these special cards, you perform whatever it is that needs to be performed, but a standard card will look like this. We'll have a priority, you read from left to right, indicating the order in which factions have a chance of choosing to go. So first the Vijayanagara, then the Bamani, then the Delhi Sultanate in this case. Then I'm gonna choose another card as an example, actually, because reason. There you go, this one here. Then the first player, well, in this example, the Delhi Sultanate, chooses what to do. They can choose to execute the event. Most events come in two flavors, so because they may be favorable to one side or the other. So, of course, if you choose to perform the event, you choose the version that is favorable to you. In this case, so for example, they may decide to perform the event. If they do so, they take their action marker and they place it there on the event box right there. Booyah. Then, and they resolve that, they do whatever it says. Then the second player gets to go. If the event wasn't selected, they can select it. Or, and the same for the first party, if they don't want to resolve the event, they can choose a command and decree. Each player has two ranges, two types of actions. One is called command and one is called decree. And so when it's your turn to go, if either of these is still available, you can choose it. And again, if you choose this box, you execute a command and a decree. If you choose this one, the event, or just a command. And the reason to choose that one is, well, I want a command, but that command is being taken, so I need to go that way. Most events, after you perform them, you will become ineligible for the next turn. So after that is resolved, your marker goes here. You can always choose to ignore the event, and when it is your turn, instead of taking a command and decree or an event or command, you can choose to pass, which is not really to pass because you will collect resources. So I just say you perform the action of collecting resources, or you can choose to perform a limited command, one of your regular available commands, but only in a single region. Either of these you select, you stay eligible for next turn, as the boxes say. Some events also say stay eligible, and so if you choose that event, you remain eligible, and there is a good reminder, which is you flip this guy face down as a reminder of how that goes. Suppose, for example, it's the beginning of the turn, there is an event that allows this whoever takes it to stay eligible. This party decides to do it, so they take the event, but they stay eligible. This party decides to perform a command and decree, and they decide to perform that one, limited command. So when we prepare for the next turn, this one becomes ineligible, skips next turn, this one is still eligible, this one is still eligible. We draw the new card, and maybe now this player does this, and this player does this, and so that's how this will then work. And this is the typical cycle of actions of coin mechanics. So what are these famous actions? Each player has a very well laid out player aid with the 4 parties, the 3 playing parties and the non-playing Mongol party. And the actions are kind of what you would expect in a game in which people are trying to expand and retain their power. Generally speaking, with variants for the different parties, you can recruit new units, you can move them on the board, you can govern, so place governors, or place a kashba, which is a building that gives advantages to the Delhi Sultanate, or remove up to 2 obedient units. So if you're afraid that they're gonna rebel against you, you can remove them when they're still obedient, remember, with the embossed side hidden face down. That would be for govern. And attacking. Attacking, each player has attacking, versions for attacking. The way it works, you will usually roll 4 dice as the attacker, 3 in some cases, and the defender will roll 2 dice. Dice are rolled. You know what, suppose that these people are attacking these people. So these people are attacking these people. You roll the dice, and then you can spend cavalry charges, if you have these tokens, to remove dice of the opponent or to lower the value of your dice. That already tells you that low numbers are good. Once both players have a chance of spending cavalry charges, if they have them, you look at the numbers. Each die that shows a number equal to or lower than the number of troops on your side inflicts a hit on the opponent. So they are trying to attack them. 4 or less is a hit. So if this is the situation, this would be 3 hits that they need to take. They hit only on 2 or less. That means they missed, and so that would be the outcome of that confrontation right there. That's for attack. And a couple of other wrinkles. For example, when the Bahmani attack, they can count the strength of up to 2 units from an adjacent area with a fort. You don't actually move them, you just count the strength, so that would be very nice. However, 6s, when you roll them, are always misses. Other things, rally, again, you gain units, you move them, you cause a rebellion, remember removing the tributary marker, and attack. And then you can trade, gaining money, gaining cavalry charges, you can build forts, or conspire, which is in 1 or 2 provinces with a piece of yours, you can replace a governor with one of your governing pieces. This can be upgraded if your influence is good enough. And for the Vijayanagara, rallying, migrating, rebelling, attacking, pretty much the same commands as the Bahmani. but you can tax, gaining more money. You can build temples, that will give you advantages, and you can compel, which is in a province with or adjacent to one of your pieces. You can place or move in from any adjacent province one or two rajas. So it's a way for you to spread your influence more efficiently. I know it's a lot, and of course this is not a tutorial, but I hope that I was able to give you the general idea, the general sense of how the game works. Play turn after turn, resolving event cards, resolving special event cards from time to time. Expand, consolidate, attack, and just try to control as much of the area as possible, as the Sultanate also tried to prevent the Mongols from completely devastating Delhi, because that would be bad. And at the end of the game, the player with the highest score wins the game. I knew absolutely nothing about this conflict and this period in history in India, and well, this is one of the reasons why I love to play historical games, because now I know more than I did, and I know about the complexity and the intricacies and the challenges that the various parties were facing. When it comes to coin games, some in the past were fairly complex, and there was extra complexity due to how very highly asymmetrical the parties were. Here, the three factions play differently from one another, but not in a radical way, especially the two southern factions. They're very similar from one another. One can expand more easily, the other one has a military advantage. It is the Delhi Sultanate that is most different from the others because of the double game that they have to play. They have more resources, they can muster more troops, but there are the Mongol invasions, the constant threat of Mongol invasions coming through the mountain passes and possibly threatening even Delhi, plundering the countryside, which will cause the Sultanate to lose units from the board. So you have three factions, but the complexity is not that high. Even when it comes to, sometimes in coin games, you have like a mini game, like when you check the upkeep of all the things that are happening, and those phases are a lot shorter, faster, more intuitive, more streamlined. So I would say that this is a perfect entry point for people who may be new to the coin system, because you have a game that doesn't take too long to play, it's very smooth, the mechanics are very intuitive, and you have enough asymmetry to create interesting challenges, but not enough that you have to basically learn three different games to be able to play them, which is sometimes the case with very high asymmetrical games. And yet still you have interesting challenges, again, based on the unique powers and abilities, based on the unique challenges and difficulties. The Sultanate, again, as I said, is definitely the toughest faction to play. Also, the most fun and challenging, of course. The Bahmani, well, they're pretty good. They militarily, but they're really sandwiched geographically in between those two other factions. There's nowhere that the South can expand that doesn't get in the way of the Bahmani. They can both push towards the East, but there's only so much that you can do there. You have a nice architecture of the game, architecture of the experience with the different phases, of course, with the rebellions not being available at the beginning of the game, and so you feel there really is a mounting tension because the two southern factions are preparing or rallying or assembling troops, are getting ready to start, toppling local governments and refusing to pay tribute to Delhi. Very interesting ideas there. The combat system, same as with the other elements, is similar enough for all parties that you don't have to learn three combat systems, but there are unique tweaks and twists. Attacking a Bahmani force that has they're surrounded by forts and can potentially project help there. That's not an easy thing to do. If you do that after they collect a couple of charged tokens, that's very tough. But maybe you do that a couple of times, they spend those tokens, then things change. So you have interesting sets of situations, challenges, and dilemmas for for all parties involved. I think the rule book and the player aids do a very good job of facilitating gameplay. And so you have this gameplay that teaches you about history, shows you history, and it's really fun and engaging as gameplay. Plus, again, with great replay value if you actually play multiplayer and you are switching faction from time to time. So, high praise from me for this game, whose title I'm not gonna say again because I probably mispronounced it enough times. But the game, I like very much.